So in this case, we are going to consider our inequalities. That is the linear inequalities. As you are to work out your inequalities, you need to know the basics from the linear inequalities up to the quadratic inequalities. So I'm just going to use this exercise as a recap as we to consider these from our grade 10 mathematics. We had linear inequalities. So nothing has changed. We still have those basic calculations that we had before, remembering that as you are solving inequalities, it is just like you are solving an equation. All right, so we are given the first question, x plus 15, which is less than 6, less than or equal to 6 minus 2x. So as I was stating, that solving an inequality, it is just same way as you are solving an equation. The only part that we need to consider is that when you are working with inequalities, the division of a negative, let's say we're given minus 2x, which is greater than a 4. The moment that you divide by a negative, the moment that you divide by this negative that we had, it is going to affect the inequality sign that you're given. It is going to reverse. The moment I divide by this negative 2, it means x is now less than. It was a greater than, but it will be less than. All right, minus 2 into 4, which is minus 2. That is the major part that you have to consider. The division or the multiplication by a negative, both sides. Any other calculation as we had our equations is going to remain the same. Meaning to say, we are going to treat the inequality sign as an equal sign, but do not put the equal sign. You just assume as if that is an equal sign. You solve the same way that you're solving your linear equations. So remember, you have to collect the like terms. Collect the like terms. In this case, in our question, we have got the part of x. We are supposed to have these terms on one side of the equation. We have got the constants. We are supposed to have these one side of the equation. All right, let us take the minus 2x to the other side. This is going to give us a positive. So that's x plus 2x is less than or equal to the 15 to the other side of the equation. It was a positive. There it is going to give us a negative. So that's 6 minus 15. So you have to consider that. Collecting of the like terms, then you can simplify the left-hand side, also simplify the right-hand side. So as we know, guys, this is just same as we've got a 1. So let's add a 1 plus 2, which is 3x. That is less than or equal to. So still, the inequality, just like an equal sign, you maintain that. We maintain that. We haven't divided anything by a negative. Taking this term to another side of the inequality, this number to another side, does not affect the inequality sign. It remains as it is. As you are transposing these numbers, the inequality sign is not affected. All right, so this is what you're going to have, 6 minus 15. That is going to give us a minus 9. All right, so let's divide by 3, both sides. And take note, you are dividing by a positive. So this is not going to affect our inequality sign. It's not a negative. This one's a positive. You are dividing by what? What are you dividing with? That is a positive 3. So it is not going to affect anything. So our x is going to be less than or equal to a minus 3. So this is what we are going to have at the end. So take note, the way the inequality sign is going to change is when you divide. When you divide by what? By a negative. When you divide by a positive, very like what we had in this question, we are not going to have any effect in our question. So if you want to see this effect, I want us to have the same question so that we see the effect of that negative that we had. So we could have answered this same question in this way. We could have collected our like terms this way, x to the other side this way. And we take the 6 to this way, to this other side. So meaning to say, as we take 6 to the other side of the equation, it is going to be a negative 15 minus 6 is less than or equal to, we take the x to the other side of the equation. It was a positive x. The moment we take it there, it is going to be what? A negative. So it is minus 2x minus x. Let's say this is how you collected your terms. You're going to subtract in this case 15 minus 6, which is 9. That's less than or equal to minus 2 minus 1. This is minus 1, like minus x, minus 1x. So that is going to give us negative 3x. We need to find the value of x. So we have to divide by what? Number that you're given there, which is minus 3 and minus 3. Take note, what are you dividing with? A negative. A negative. So the moment you are using a negative, like what I explained here, the inequality sign has to change. The inequality sign reverses. So the moment I divide by this negative, all right? So it was 8 to 9, that is going to be minus 3. This sign, it changes. Because you divided by negative, it must change. So it is now greater than or equal to. This is what we now have. Like, consider 3 is greater than or equal to what? Here you canceled, you've got x. That is how it is going to be like. So the question is, are we having the same answer as what we had before? Remember, our previous solution was in this manner. It was x is less. The question is, are these two answers the same? This answer that we have here and this answer that we have here, are they the same? Are we having the same answers there? Yes, this is exactly the same thing. X, reading this inequality from the side of x, we are saying x is less than or equal to minus 3. Look, the arrow there is pointing x. The same thing that is happening here, the arrow is pointing at what? At x. This is exactly the same thing. So solving of these inequalities, guys, you can solve them in any way. So it is up to you to avoid that negative, as we saw from our calculation, that we can avoid working with the negative if you worked it in the first manner. This equation, guys, it is in your hands. As you are solved, you can see that these values are positive. Just take a look at this equation. If you were to take the 2x to this side, what was going to happen? It was going to give us a negative, because it will be x minus 2x. That's a negative. If we take this x to the other side, it means we have avoided working with a negative. So it is up to you. That calculation, it is up to you. You can avoid the negative. You can work with that. All right. So let's say we just work in a normal way where you take your x values to the left-hand side of the equation. That was going to give us a negative. All right. So let's less than. All right. We take the minus 5 to the other side of the inequality sign. It was a negative there. It was going to be, then it's going plus 5. This is where we are. Negative 5 to a positive 5. So what are we having here? X minus 2x. This is the same as 1 minus 2, which is minus 1x. Minus 1x, guys, is the same as what? Same as minus x. That is same as we have minus x is less than 3 plus 5, which is going to give us what? That is going to give us 8. So if minus x is less than 8, what about x? What is affecting x? Remember, I said there's a 1, there's a minus 1. So you're simply going to divide by what? Negative 1. Then see what's going to happen there. Remember what you are dividing with. The inequality sign reverses. It changes. It reverses. It was a 8. Divide by negative 1. That's a negative 8. So x is greater than minus 8. X is bigger than minus 8. That is what it means then. But like I said, it is all in your hands, the simplification, because we could have avoided that. We saw that we could have avoided this if we had taken this same inequality as x minus 5 is less than 2x plus 3. Then we choose to avoid that negative by taking the x to the other side of the inequality and this 3 to the other side of the inequality. It means we were going to have minus 5 The 3 to the other side is going to give us what? A minus 3, which is less than. We already have the 2x on the other side of the inequality. So we're going to write, it's going to change to be a minus. Just like an equal sign, when it crosses the equal sign, it changes the sign. So when a number, when a letter, whatever that you're given, crosses the inequality sign, it changes its sign. The term, the number is the one that changes, not the inequality sign. No. Take note on this transposing part. All right, so what are you going to have? Minus 3, minus 8, minus 3. That is going to give us minus 8. This minus 5, minus 3 is going to give us minus 8 is less than 2 minus 1x. This is just 1. So 2 minus 1 is going to give us 1x, which is x. So this is what we have. Minus 8 is less than x. Let's read this from the side of x. X is what to minus 8? X is greater than, bigger than. Look, X is the one that is pointing, minus X is pointing. X here is pointing minus 8. So it means X is bigger than. You cannot point something that is someone that is bigger than you. So it means X is the one that is bigger because it's pointing to minus 8. X is pointing to minus 8. Same thing. So the simplification, the solving of inequalities, guys, they are in your hands. That is in your hands. If by any means or by any chance you have solved this equal there as part of x, the moment you divide by that negative, do not forget to change the inequality sign. But also it can happen by chance that you have avoided that part of x to be a negative. Then it's fine. Just solve as usual, divide as usual. If you have avoided that. On C, we are given 4 into x minus 1. That is greater than 6 into x minus 1. So you'll be saying, this because x minus 1 is the same. Let me cancel like this. That is wrong. That is totally wrong. We haven't solved for x. We need to solve what is x. The moment you divide this, we have removed that x that we want. So how do we solve if it is given like this? Distribute the brackets. We are given the brackets, so you need to expand our brackets. The first bracket of x minus 1 is affected by what? By a 4. The second bracket of x minus 1 is affected by what? By a 6. So let's expand and collect our like terms. So let's distribute by 4. That's 4 times x, which is going to give us 4. That is greater than 6 times x. That is 6x. From there, guys, we are back to the same concept on B. It is the same concept. That way we are collecting those. Which way do you want? All right. Let's say I take the 6x to the other side. It is to be 4x minus. Already there's a minus there on the right side. So this is minus 6. We take the 4 to the other side, the minus 4, to be a positive 4. So 4 have minus 2x is greater than minus negative 2. So take note. The part of x is carrying what? A negative. The part of x is carrying a number. I'm supposed to be signed because this sign is value. So x is going to change to say at the end, x is less than 1. X is less than 1. That is what we have. So you can work it in another way. You can avoid you have the same the x that you are given also, just like the brackets that you are given. All right, minus 2 is greater than or equal to 0. So expand the which is of expand it by what? So that's the condition there. 4 multiplies everything. 4 times minus 3 affected this bracket, the second bracket. Minus 2x is going to give us a positive. Minus 2 and minus 1. That is greater than or equal to 0. The terms, all the numbers that we are given, collect our like terms. The part where we've got x together, add minus 2x. This the minus 12, our like terms. We have to just add the like terms. So 4 minus 2. That is going to give us, this is going to give us greater than or equal to 0. At this stage, I need x. And I have a number which does not have x, which I can take to the other side of the inequality. A negative 10, the moment it jumps the inequality sign, it's supposed to change the side. It is going to be what? A positive. That's 0 plus what? 0 plus 10, greater than or equal to 10. Minus 10 to the other side. We need the value positive. Is it going to affect the inequality sign? No. It has no effect. It has no effect on the inequality sign. So x will be greater than or equal to 5. So these are the typical questions that you just need to work out. Try to do as many questions as it has different, so that at least you can use the same way of answering to answer as many questions, guys. Work out your question papers so that you figure out how do they even ask it. We are given y is less than or equal to a 1. This is what we have. We have a fraction, we have a part of y that you're having there, and this 1. So what can we do? We can actually combine this to be a single fraction. Or we can avoid combining this to be a single fraction by taking each term, each number to be a fraction. Y over 1, 1 over 1. Every term can be written as a fraction the moment you divide by 1. Then we consider to say, what is the LCD of these denominators? That is now to avoid adding these fractions, so that we just have to remove the fraction that we are given. We have to determine or to find the LCD. So in this case, our LCD or the LCM is 3. With the LCD, we multiply each and every term. You're supposed to multiply each term. So you're supposed to multiply each term by that LCD, which is our LCD. Each and every as a term, 1, we take it as a term. So we're going to multiply this by 3. So you'll see that this 3 and this 3 is going to cancel. That's why we've got a 1. So guys, 1 times any number, it remains as it is. 1 times 1, that's a 1. 1 times 2, that's a 2. So 1 times this is going to remain as y plus 5. Give us what? 3y, which is less than or equal 1, which is a 3. This is where we are. We have terms from the left side of our inequalities that we can consider. These are like terms where we can add our terms together. 1 plus 3, which is 4y there. Then a 5 that we are or equal to a 3. This is where we are. Remember, you need to find the value. We need to solve for y. This is where we are. What is it that is affecting our inequality, the 5? We do not have y there. So we're going to take this to the other side. So that means minus 5, which is enabling us the value of y. In this case, that's the values of y. It's a set of values. You cannot say it's a value. This inequality you're solving for values of y. You cannot say y it's a certain value, which is 1, which is 2. It represents a range of values that we can be talking about. Okay, so we divided by a positive. Is it going to affect our inequality? No, it is just going to remain as it is. Minus 2 over 4. This is minus 1 over 2, or minus a half. Nothing is changed. The inequality sign is not affected because we divided by what? A positive value. It is not about the number that is here to say it's a negative. It's about the number that you are using to divide here, the number that in the denominator. What are you having? So if you check, this is the same concept as what we are having on our question F, where we are given. So this is F, that is 3y plus 2 over 4. That is greater than S0 like this. What about the 0? As a fraction, that's over 1. So meaning to say these denominators that we are given, 4, 3, and 1. 4, 3, and 1. So we're going to have, remember the LCD is your LCM. 4 times 3, that's a 12 there. That's the smaller number that you can use. With the LCD or the LCM, we have to multiply fraction, like the whole part is it. We are supposed to multiply by that 12. All right. So you're going to multiply. We also multiply this by 12. So multiply by 12, guys. 12 is the same as 12 over 1 like this. 12. Or 12 divided by 4. That's a 3. But the 3, take note, it is affecting the whole of this expression that we are given. So we are supposed to have this is going to be 3 into what? Into 3y plus 2. The same thing with this part. Let's divide. It's going to be a 4. So remember, this is just like we have a bracket there. So meaning to say the minus 4, this number here, we've got a minus and the number there is 4. Say 3 into 12, that's a minus 4. We could have written it that side, not this side. So it's the same thing. Do not confuse on that part. The bracket of what? Y minus 6. And every term inside the bracket. Okay. So there's nothing there. So in the process of removing the fractions, multiplying each and every term by the LCD or the LCM, are the questions that we had before, which had brackets, you see? How were you solving when it was how you solved before? Expanding of the brackets, collecting of like terms. So this is the same situation that we are back to. We have a bracket here. Expand this by what? By the number of 6, x, which is a minus 4. Just like that. All right, so let's expand the first one by 3. That's 3 plus 3 times 2, which is a 6. Minus 4 times y, that's minus 4y minus 24. That's greater than a 0, like that. Remember, you need to solve for what? For y. Collecting like terms, the part of y minus 4y, 9 minus 4. So that is going to give us 5y, then 6 and 24, 50. That is greater than a 0. All right, just like what we had before. We need to solve for y, guys. 30 to the other side of our inequality because 5y is greater than a negative 30. Divide by 5. The number there is 5. So it does not, is going to be greater than what? Minus a negative 6 at the end. That is y is bigger than minus 6. Y is greater than minus 6. So these are some of the typical questions that as much as you are doing the question papers, you see how familiar the questions can be like. So you're going to meet in another class as we are working still on our inequality.